I think we can begin our panel. I'll first bring in, so on the panel, we are very lucky to have with us people from, obviously, scholars, 3 hubs in Pakistan: Islamabad, Karachi, and Lahore. And we also have with us a scholar member, Shahid Iqbal, who, sorry, not Shahid Iqbal, we have a scholar member, Shahzaib Munir. Yes, Shahzaib Munir, who is one whose family has been affected by the flood. So he, through his experience, can also share what it is like for individuals who are in it, who are not far away, because we are still far away. And we also have, again, our generous contributors from Akhuwat and Alkhidmat, who will share further. We will dig deeper into what they're experiencing, what it is like, what further can be done. So now, without further ado, let me firstly welcome our scholar member, Mr. Shahzaib Munir. He is a member of SCOLAR Lahore Hub, and his family has survived from the flood disaster, but they have also lost their family home. So over to you, if Mr. Shahzaib Munir is with us at this moment. I think if he is not online yet, because I believe we were trying to coordinate the time, let's wait a couple of minutes. And before that, let's call in our scholar members. Let me firstly, you're online? Yes. Okay, great. So Shahzaib, yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. We can hear you, but there's a bit of break, so try not to move your device too much. And Shahzaib, for me, for all of us, I think we are all trying to come closer to understand the reality of what it is like for families, and your family has been affected. So maybe if you can speak for a few minutes about what your family experienced and how is it so far. Give us some details as well where your family home is, please.
Thank you so much. So basically, I'm from Khola. Khola was affected by flood, and one of our
I think Shahzaib, let me say that for now the device can only be on you. I know you're all sitting together, so for this time you can keep the device just on you. Perfect. You're perfectly visible. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, of course, as for others, for me and for my family, it was a disastrous day. That when flood hit our threshold and it came to our house, or likewise others in the neighborhood or in the society, it was all of a sudden thing that we have never imagined or we have never experienced before. So it was, I think, it was at dawn time at 5 o'clock somehow that the flood water hit the house of the neighborhood and all the society. So all of a sudden we went outside and we saw a huge flock of that water was coming to us. My voice is coming. So it was not a good experience, but however we all managed to get out from that time by climate change or somehow management. So somehow all escaped, but the water hit houses hardly and destroyed half of them, like houses and many crops and each and everything, anything that comes in its way.
Yeah.
So
yes,
then
yeah, please go ahead. Yes.
Then, however, we managed to get to somewhere else in that like a mountainous region, which was like a top place. All people went there and they all gathered there. And after that, 30 to 1 hour the security or the management authority, the people came there and they visited all the people. They are well feeling very scary, and they all were so sad that what has happened to them. So there were the people that were before, they were like hand to mouth, so poor. Their house were like so like fragile, we can say, or weak. They were, even before the flood, they were poor. They couldn't manage their day-to-day life or livelihood. But after flood, the flood has left nothing for them.
Yeah. So
So
if I may ask a follow-up question quickly, because now, so your family, obviously the home is destroyed and they are not living there, right? And other families in the same area, the situation is the same. Their homes are not livable. And obviously food is another issue, right? Crops, everything, livestock was also affected. So do they currently have any help? Where are they living right now? How have these families, including yours, how are they making it work?
Well, we were luckily some like some friends or family members outside the zone of the flood. That was it. So we went to them, and somehow the people there were people which were not having like links, relatives outside that area or outside that zone. So those were the people that were affected the most. Okay. Even after so many days, even so many couple of weeks, they were not having food, even no shelter, nothing, no tents, no even medicines. So there are families who are like facing an inexorable problems there, which are uncompromised for them, but they are living there forcefully under the sky. So
how are they eating? Do they have any relief, any local organizations that are providing food, basic for sustenance?
Yes. After 1 week that when validated art, so there were some like people, some wealthy people. So what they used to bring them to them, like pieces or parcels, we can say. So after 1 week or 10 days, the authority came there, and how they managed. So after that, they started rescuing them, and also there is also an end of that army, I can say, that frontier corps. They managed hard. They have done a lot for them, for that people.
In the rescue efforts.
In the rescue.
Thank you so much. We'll come back and understand more because I think what you really in these few minutes, what you also help us understand is how the communities act, like people who had relatively more were able to help the families survive. And then we have obviously authorities, and also, as we all know, the FC troops, the Frontier Corps, they're very involved. We've been watching videos how every institution, and the FC included, these troops have helped families get out of risky situations. And right now, obviously, it's about survival. And in the medium term and the long term, we have to think about effective rehabilitation. So thank you so much. We wish you strength. This is a difficult period. And just know that Scholar Family is with you, and our hubs are here to help you, your community, and others. But we'll try our best. Thank you so much. We'll come back now. Let me invite our speaker from Alkhidmat Foundation. So he is Mr. Shahid Iqbal, the Secretary General of Alkhidmat Foundation. Sir, your foundation has, your work has been circulating. We also, first, obviously the Pakistanis and others world over, we've been watching what kind of impact you're making. It's moving, it is inspiring, it is helping us also think creatively that what we need to do and that we can make a difference. So thank you for sharing your work with us. And now over to you, further your words, like what is it like, what you feel Al-Khidmat, what is the impact of Al-Khidmat's work? What further can be done?
Thank you very much, and thanks to the scholar community and the scholar family for inviting us. And I think that two of the important aspects has already been covered, and one by Mr. Roman. He has a detailed discussion about what the flood has is its impact on the people and not the infrastructure. And now your scholar is telling about the first-hand information, and he has given it that what the people are feeling and what they are suffering from. So I think I will focus on your future agenda, that what the scholar community should do and what the scholars can make a difference in all this situation. As we, like many organizations, are on ground and we are assessing the situation on a daily basis, and there are a lot of requirements being generated on a daily basis, new problems. So we are looking for new solutions and all things. So I think that one aspect that scholar community can contribute is to look into innovative solutions for, like these are many problems. There are children, women, and the latest thing is that there are around 600,000 pregnant women who should have been taken care of. We are also initiating one of our projects for these newborn and for these pregnant women, and hopefully we are rolling it in next 3 to 4 days. So that's like a major problem. Healthcare is now a major issue, and the waterborne diseases, the skin allergies, and the communicable diseases. And these are like, it's a rampage, and it needs to be catered. Organization like from the health sector and from other volunteer organizations. So that's a major thing. We are doing the food stuff. We have established community kitchens. We are giving a dry ration and many things. Like currently, we have already organized more than 700 medical camps in all these areas, and it has catered around 200,000 patients. So and that's one thing. We are providing clean water through our water tankers and our filtration plants. It's like a big activity. But our current focus is now being shifted to the shelter and healthcare. Because the healthcare, the issue is that it has a long-term impact on the economic condition of the people. As the scholar was telling you, that the area that flood has hit, it was already vulnerable, and most of the people living there were below poverty line by any means, any standards of poverty indicators. You can say they were poor. So that's one thing, and you better know that when a disaster and vulnerability, if you can combine them in one place, so it has disastrous results. That's happening in Sindh and Balochistan right now. So the next thing that we need to take care of the livelihood of the people, how we can sustain their livelihood, how we can create jobs.
There's a slight, it got stuck over there. Maybe we can continue.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. Yes, yes.
Thank you. So I was just
now it's
the livelihood issue as well. Yes,
okay.
please.
Now it's audible. For 2 seconds it wasn't. Now it's good.
Okay, so you have to bear this with us. We are in University of Lahore, and it's outside Lahore, I think. Internet issues we are facing. So the thing is that the scholar community can focus on some short-term and long-term projects, and we all need to sit together. We can recommend some projects. We can even, you can say, facilitate field visits of your community members. So we are ready to facilitate and to collaborate in all such projects. There are a lot of problems, like water will be a problem in the future as well. We have already educated quite a large sum of our funds to new water projects in the area. We will be installing more than 50 water filtration plants. currently we have mobile water filtration plants and all these things. But I am telling about the future perspective that we are going to do. And we have already pledged 1,000 water projects that will be community water projects. It will include wells and community hand pumps and all these things for catering the need of clean drinking water. Because clean drinking water has a direct impact on the health issues of the people that are living over there. So that's one thing. There are some initiatives on the government side as well, like they will be compensating the flood damages, the people who have lost their homes. You better know that more than 2 million houses are either fully damaged or partially damaged. So it's like a huge number. 2 million is, you better know that it's quite a large number, and it will need a lot of serious efforts from different people to cater their needs. So that's one thing. I just want to mention the contribution of some Chinese companies with our organizations. I think there are around 15 to 20 organizations that already contributed in our flood relief campaign. It includes the tech companies like Oppo and TSL, even from the pharma, there are TigerMed and such companies. So they are already in, and it will be good for you people as well to use that material. And even their staff has contributed a lot. And many of these companies that are operating in Pakistan, they have regular meetups with us as well. Yesterday, we have a good meeting with the Chinese ambassador as well on his invitation at his residence. And they have already contributed. They are giving us some food packages as well, and some future projects were also discussed over there. So this is also a good opening for the Chinese-based organizations and consortiums like Scholar and all these.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think really helping us understand, because now one of the critical questions is how to build better. So what you're talking about is also, you know, we need to think one step ahead, like clean water. How can we provide it more effectively? And knowing the details from you can help a community like Scholar and people that we aim to reach to, we hope we can reach to, understand how together we can really help that process in the short, medium, and long term. And also when you mentioned the Chinese companies, I remember a few days into you know, when this really became, we realized the magnitude, we started to realize the magnitude of what's happening in Pakistan. Then Chinese companies, some of them announced low-cost housing, et cetera, So these companies, you know, organizations apart, not just Pakistani, but from overseas that are based in Pakistan have such initiatives, and it's excellent to partner with them. It's lucky for them to partner with organizations like Alkhidmat to make that impact in a more efficient way faster. So thank you so much. Now let me firstly call our hubs. Let's start with Khola from SCOLAR Lahore. Yeah, Khola, are you here? Am I audible? You can also test your sound. Okay, perfect. So Khola is actually representing SCOLAR Islamabad hub, yes, and currently in Shanghai. But I think all of our hubs are also like basically what was just mentioned from Alkhidmat Foundation. There are things that the hubs can do directly with these organizations on ground, including Alkhidmat and Akhuwat. So maybe Khola, you can talk a bit about what is the sentiment, because the hub members are in Pakistan. You have a closer connection with what's happening, and how do you plan that we can move forward with given that we have the Islamabad hub path for Scholar? Please, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Zoon, for the question. I think just with the example of this event being put forward, we can see the kind of impact and the kind of difference we can make even from a distance. So this is not only the physical proximity you need to actually contribute to a good cause, but actually having that spirit or the community spirit, which definitely organizations like SCOLAR is profoundly working for building a sense of togetherness and working towards a common purpose. And that definitely is something that we as individuals can contribute. So I think right now, as a community, as a SCOLAR community, which is international, what we can help with is through such initiatives, such programs and at small hub level, we can help mobilizing funds, mobilizing resources, and we do have to start utilizing platforms like Scholar Network or any other associations that we are linked with in our personal or professional capacity to raise awareness. Because definitely with awareness only we can move towards the next step. As some of the presentations from the foundations today also made us realize that we are moving slowly and steadily. So at first, if it was about relief efforts, now we are slowly moving towards rehabilitation. So definitely the correct usage of platform and raising awareness through platform is very important, and feeling responsibility and accountability is very important, because you need to have a certain level of empathy and feel the pain of others to sort of like have the push to work towards a common cause. And I definitely would like to reiterate what you've mentioned before, is at an individual level, we need to have a forward-thinking mindset, because we no longer can only rely on raising awareness post a disaster strikes any nation for that matter. We need, now more than ever, I think people are realizing and people are waking up to the fact that we as human beings are not being very environmentally responsible. So instead of having this mindset of, oh, the government is going to solve it, or we are really small in the big scheme of events and we are powerless, we need to stop this mindset, and we need to be aware that in really at the very smallest level and the common spaces that we are sharing with other people, we need to be a bit more responsible towards that, because today, because of irresponsibly treating our environment, the world is seeing the devastating effect it has had on Pakistan. Like 1/3 of a country is not a joke. It's like a big area that got destroyed. And as the figures mentioned by some of our esteemed speakers, that it has set back us 20 years. So today, it is not, again, just at the level of one country holding the whole world accountable and telling that we are the affectees today and it could be you tomorrow. It also has to come from the mindset of each and every one of us thinking that today, because of being collectively environmentally responsible, this is the cumulative destructive effect we have had on one country. Then what as individuals we can do to counter that. So definitely each person has to play their part.
You know, this makes me think we always talk about we can together create positive synergy, right? But yes, that also means it will go the other way around. When we together act irresponsibly, that is also negative, equally amplified. The negative impact is equally amplified. And that's where we need to think about, of course, I mean, we recognize that the people currently suffering are not the ones. How much more sustainably can they live? I do not think they could live more sustainably than they do. But people like us definitely can. And people like us definitely can keep that in mind. The decisions we will make will amplify. And if there are good decisions, we will all be safer in the future. So thank you so much, Paula. And yes, we feel the pain. Spreading the word, spreading what's happening, utilizing our platform that has been built so organically over so many years to spread the word so that more people can help is important, and also tangibly helping is important. So thank you. Now let me invite Salman from SCOLAR Karachi Hub. The first time we met was in Gwadar, yes. And that's also, I think, going to Gwadar, let me just say quickly, that was 2019, right? And being there is also humbling, because you see that there's so much development that has quickly affected so many lives, and simultaneously there's still so many people who need to be affected. So I think when you go to areas that need affirmative action from all of us. It is humbling. And today we are really talking on a scale so devastating that I'm glad that you are someone I experienced Gwadar with as well. You know, we saw that we can do so much here. So from your perspective, actually, even Karachi, your neighboring Sindh, is the worst affected. And Karachi is the biggest city of Pakistan, but also the capital of Sindh. So Salman, can you tell me a little bit more? I mean, also try to help us understand in Karachi, you know, I've heard that people are personally involved. Everyone, I mean, personally, anyone I know is involved. So in Karachi, it must be even more because Sindh is the worst affected province. So can you tell us how is it working? What are people doing? Can you give us some examples? Yeah.
Yeah. Firstly, I will thank Scholar for, joining all our hands for this great disaster which we are facing right now. From the personal point of view, if I would say that the day the news break out about the families and the lives, that all the destructions happened and the visuals were on television, my mother started crying. She said, what we can do, what we can do. She stood up, took her all wardrobe out and said, I'm going to donate it all and let the women wear the clothes because they have lost everything. They didn't have anything. They lost each and everything of. Just imagine, we are living in a comfortable home with our beds, with our every utility which we use, and they lost it suddenly, everything. So we all collected our all the clothes and we just went out and donated. Then the next day we thought, okay, now what? Okay, we have to donate medications because the other problems are now developing. We have to combine the effort. We collected the funds from the neighborhood. We got some medications and delivered it to the nearest Alkhidmat drop-off point, and we said that here's the medicines you need. And when we saw, went there, we saw the whole Karachi was on the roads and giving the donations, giving the medications, the clothing, the food, and all the rations to the charitable organizations to support these people. And still now, if I say one of my friend is doing some ration drives on weekend basis, the people who are internally became a refugee from internal Sindh to the Karachi. They are coming to Karachi now. My friends and myself, we have gone to highways where they have, the temporary tents, accommodations. We give them foods. So everybody is trying their best, but it's not a one-time job. It's a long-term thing because this disaster has taken us back 20 years back now. For just from the infrastructure point of view, that is more than 13,000 kilometers of infrastructure, that the roads, we lost it in the floods. So all the areas are disconnected still. People, the organizations like Alkhidmat and other use the military resources to reach those points because normally we cannot reach those points. So these are disconnected right now. And the house damages and the livestock, one of my friends just told me that 60% of the total livestock of Balochistan have been washed away. So what those people will do?
And for them, that's life. That is life.
That is
how
life.
do you live? That's life.
That's life. So we have to, join hands. In personal capacity, we all are doing things, but we have to invite our friends, the friends of Pakistan in the SCO region. I have seen the largest donation, flood relief flights coming in Pakistan is from Uzbekistan. Second comes China. So people are, the friends of Pakistan are doing, but we have to connect the people to people approach and engage the people in those countries and ask them. So we have a situation going on in our home and we need some helping hand to, get those people on life track back.
I also think we've mentioned this a few times before, especially with Alkhidmat and Akhuwat's presentations, that indeed, it seems like a daunting, you don't know if your little bit 2 cents can help at all. But when you talk to people in Pakistan who are involved like yourselves, then you realize, okay, a small thing can make a big difference. And that is where people's involvement, our responsibility as Pakistani society is number one, to make it manageable, to find creative solutions that are efficient in this critical situation, right? And that's when we can think, okay, it actually takes only this much to build a new house. We have the resources, we need a little bit of more help, and then we work from there on. So I think that this is very important, the information you're sharing and the sentiment. I mean, hearing that literally this has become the most important thing happening in our personal lives. It's the most urgent thing happening in our personal lives. And I will also mention quickly that recently in a discussion with someone from the developed country, we talked about climate injustice, so the topic came up that actually developed countries should worry climate refugees will come to developed countries. So it is anyway a global problem, whether they face climate change or it is in the form of another refugee issue, which we are all worried about. And that is happening. Like you're saying, now we have climate refugees in Karachi, internally displaced people. So we are helping them, but the real solution is to rehabilitate those areas that are affected. Thank you, Salman. And now let me invite from SCOLAR Lahore. We have Aiza Humayun. Aiza, are you with us? Can you tell us a bit, from your perspective? I know Punjab, so right now, Sindh, Balochistan, KPK are most affected, but my own family is also from Lahore. I know that everywhere, and South Punjab has been very badly affected. Lahore is a bit to the north, but it's capital, and that's where we're also affected by this. So can you talk a bit about your own experience, people around you, just like Salman and Khola also shared, and a little bit like, what can help us understand what role we can play, even if we are physically a bit far away?
Okay, so basically when all of this, when the climate change was eventually, like it was when it was starting, when it was like just peaking at that point, we had the view that people in Punjab and Lahore had the view that a lot of the affectees were mainly from Karachi and Balochistan, right? And we did not expect that the brunt of it we would be having it as well in Punjab. But in southern Punjab, we did see that there was a lot of effect on a lot of families in many areas, which was actually a little surprising for us, because obviously we didn't think, we had the view that we have that infrastructure or we have the facilities that if such a natural disaster does come about, we would have the facilities to help people or aid or provide relief to these people. But that was not the case, unfortunately. And we saw that once we started talking to people who were in Sindh and Balochistan, we saw that whatever they were going through, we or the people in southern Punjab was going through a similar phase. And everyone was saying that despite the fact that we have a proper department for all of these natural disasters, we did not see that there was anything helping us or helping the people who are being affected by it. And as a student myself, and as part of the upcoming youth who is going to be responsible in the coming future, we are actually very concerned, because we want to directly work with a lot of agencies, a lot of organizations that are specifically working.
We can take a moment. I think
as much, but we are facing the consequences of it, even in the same intensity.
Yes, now it's okay. Yeah, there was a momentary lapse.
I know.
Yes, good. Yes.
Okay. Moving on to the part where the international community can help us. I think the major thing is sharing and making awareness regarding climate change in Pakistan, right? So we do see that there is a certain time period during which these sessions start, where this awareness drive begins. But I think eventually it needs to be an all around the year thing, right? Because we cannot just have 1 or 2 months or even 1 or 2 days devoted to climate change, and the rest of the year we're not focusing on that at all. So that is something that needs to be worked upon. And I think Pakistanis who are in other countries, they need to work more on this. The basic thing that they can do is through donations. That could be in kind or it could be cash, right? But apart from that, they need to start talking to other people, talking to organizations in Pakistan, outside Pakistan, just like Scholar Network has taken this initiative. I think we need, the basic thing is awareness, and awareness about climate change specifically, because all of this is a result of that.
Mishal, I really want to come to you very quickly, but I have a question for our three hubs. Yesterday we had a dialogue with some people from, one person was representing Africa, another Latin America, and they were saying that our young people have been pushing for climate change action to their governments for decades. Some in Brazil, he said from the 70s and 80s, and in Africa for more than 20, 30 years, young people across the continent are pushing for better, commitment. And they are young people are personally committed to this, that climate change is an issue. Quite frankly, I mean, I'm just going to say quickly, how do you feel? Like now we are talking, okay, maybe we need to have consciousness, but why is it that we don't feel this? Do you think, or maybe I'm also older than you, so can you tell me, like nowadays, young people in universities or who have just graduated, especially this age group, how can we make people want to push, especially urban populations? Why aren't we the ones taking this as a core priority? And why aren't we so mobilized on this issue? And if we are, how so? Maybe any thoughts on this? Whoever wants to go first, maybe ladies first. Aiza, what do you think? This is so frank, like we are so close. I feel so close to all of you. So I just want to ask this question. Do you think we can also, as Scholar in Pakistan, Karachi, Lahore, Islamabad, can we do something that just mobilizes us in this direction and makes us like push, for not just greener lifestyles, but really be the ones, raising our voice against anything that goes against the environment, obviously in a balanced way? Okay, do you have any ideas how perhaps we can also have some campaign? Salman, then you can go first. Okay, Aiza, yes. What is the temperature right now? Maybe you can also tell me a bit. Like, do people really talk about it, or they think, oh, this is a first world problem? This is so out of, our scope of concern.
I actually don't have like a concrete opinion or solution, like a magical solution for it, but rather my personal opinion. I just am of the view that given the current reality of that we are living in, where we are, this particular generation is like the transitional generation, which definitely I do have high faith and high hope that with the correct vision of this current generation, I think we can push this topic forward in the future, granted that we are persistent with our viewpoints, and we keep this drive to keep this pushing this topic forward. And definitely such kind of disasters are eye-openers for us. So I think at the most basic scale, I think I would like to repeat what Aiza said before, the fact that it should not be limited to like 1 month campaign. Rather, I think with all of these mass education opportunities that all of us are fortunate enough to get through our universities, we should be responsible enough to push these topics through small campaigns and small scale events throughout the year, and not just limited to one month. And outside of it as well, I was very fortunate that through Scholar Network, I got in touch with this lady who made me change one of the decisions in my life, which is plastic consumption. And now I've started to become more conscious. I cannot honestly say that I'm plastic free now, but I have started to use my voice to say no while taking a plastic, while being offered a plastic bag while shopping in the supermarkets. So I think it starts with just one step, and it grows with persistence. So definitely, I think we are, as a transitional generation, we can push this topic forward in future.
Because I think, we sometimes, I mean, people around me immediately, at least, we think this is so far away. This is for developed, North America, Europe. These people can talk. But you see other developing regions who are living hand to mouth, who are facing poverty and disease and all of that, pushing for this as well. So I think we really can, make this, it's not a task. It should be a belief. a reality, a realization. So I would want, Scholar, we all would want that we can be among those organizations that talk about it, but in a relatable way. Let's see what other developing regions, Africa, Latin America are doing, and let's try to resonate with them, because we are the worst affected. Developing countries, global south is the worst affected. So now let's come to, and I'll come back to the hubs on this later. I think I was just venting a bit as well. So Mishal, over to you. I think you gave us such an important, such important insights into the work that Akhuwat is doing. I know that most of us grew up knowing about Akhuwat and how it's an Islamic concept. We have the concept of charity, but making those concepts reality takes work, commitment, and vision. So kudos to the team for that. So I mean, there are many questions I want to ask. For instance, you can be, one thing that I mentioned a bit earlier as well, is that if you really want to help, go to the unreachable. And now with more than 3,000 kilometers of infrastructure destroyed, people have become increasingly unreachable. How are you tackling that? Is that something you can talk about? What is being done? I know that the army really steps in Pakistan, and they make those areas reachable as well. But if you can talk a bit about the real challenges as a consequence of the floods to reach the communities that need to be reached, and what's been done, what needs to be done.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Zoon. So also in light of the conversation about climate change, just to figure out that yesterday I was preparing some document on climate change and its impact on Pakistan. And Pakistan is the 5th most vulnerable country to climate change. So right now, I think there's no time left to think or ponder over it, because we're facing the consequences right now. So, back maybe 5 to 10 years back, when we could think about like, oh, should we have those conversations, or should we focus on creating awareness? We're living in the consequences now. So
I'll add quickly to this, just one, like, it's true that we contribute less than 1%. So in terms of our own domestic emission, I think what we can't make too much of a difference. What we can focus on is greener projects, etc., which is also very important. But I think Pakistan and other developing countries, our youth can be part of that lobbying effort on the global level to make the world commit. This is where we need to care about this and mobilize and raise our voice. So over to you.
An idea for just, on a side note, I think 2 years ago, 3 years ago exactly, there was a climate march that took place in Pakistan, and I took a part in it as well. So I know the organizer of that march is an environmental lawyer called Rafi Alam, and he organizes it, and it took place all over Pakistan in different cities and in much smaller cities where you would think that climate change is a concept which is very unknown to them. So if you would like to, maybe collaborate on something like that, I'm sure that would be a great project Scholar could take forward. But coming back to your question on how Akhuwat is actually reaching those on ground, the places that need our help. So as I mentioned in my presentation as well, that that Akhuwat has 800 branches in 400 cities in Pakistan. And the way we identify those branches, even for our microfinance network, is that they are made in areas that are underdeveloped, and they're very small branches. So it's like a very small room which just has a carpet, it has floor sittings. Or when we don't even have a branch, we usually make our branches in religious spaces. So we take mosques or churches or temples, and we use those as our branches, and we give out loans, and we try to make use of them as community spaces. So a lot of these, a lot of the flood affected areas, of course, a lot of the infrastructure has been washed away, but some of these mosques and these branches, they're still standing tall. So we have reached out to our on-ground employees, and currently Akhuwat has a network of around 6,000 workers, right? So they're spread across Pakistan. So what we did was 2 things. So one, we told our workers who were in the branches to go out there, go in the fields, identify, tell us who out there, what are the families, and identify them who need our help. They would send us the data back, and in the head office, we would identify the families, kind of do a background check, and then we would make a list and then start rolling out the rush and the relief that they needed. And then secondly, so even the students that I mentioned, that Akhuwat's education services, we have a university, a free university, which has students from all 4 provinces of Pakistan, and even Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. So some of the alumni and all those students are from very poor backgrounds. So they that's one of the reasons they are chosen, are those students who can't afford education otherwise. So we asked those alumni who were from Balochistan, who were from Sindh, to also identify families that they knew personally, or in their neighborhood or from their friends who had been affected, and rally them back to us. So through these two networks, and then thirdly, our founder, Dr. Amjad Saqib, and our team, our chief credit officers, even in the video you saw, they were going themselves in the field, and they were actually going to identify families themselves. They went in the field, and then all of these families that they had identified, once we had done a background check on them to make sure that who was in need and what they were in need of, who needed Russian more, who needed cash support, who needed rehabilitation. We identified these people, and then we started to get to them. But of course, I think none of this would have been possible without the support of the government. And I'm sure my colleague, Shahid Iqbal, could also vouch for this, that this is a calamity which Akhuwat alone could not, do anything for. Even Alkhidmat alone, or Akhuwat and Alkhidmat together even could not do anything. We have to work together. So none of this would have been possible without the support of the government, without the support of the army, who were reaching out to us. Some of the areas which could not have been reached via roads, we went with the help of the Navy, and we went with the help of the Air Force. And we went through helicopters to actually dispatch Russian. So that's how, depending on what kind of area there was, because even right now, one of the challenges we're facing is that there are still some areas which are not accessible because the water is still very high. Yeah. So, those areas we're still not able to get through.
But do you think all the areas that aren't yet reached have been identified from because you're in this field, right? So obviously Al-Khidmat and Akhuwat are taking as much as is possible, but there's so many, like 35, 33, 35 million or more is the number. But do you, in your, from your understanding, know how many people have not still been reached at all?
So honestly, I would not say that all 100% of people have been identified, because we still get phone calls or messages from people saying that I still haven't gotten any food. We're still without water. We're still without food. When is Akhuwat coming to us? And of course, that's very overwhelming for us as a team, that, okay. And, sometimes I go to Dr. Amjad Saqib, and we're like, you do feel overwhelmed, especially for someone like me, we were very early on in our career, that we want to do so much, but of course, we have limited resources and we have limited time. So I don't think we are able to still, and it's still too soon, where I think 2 months in, we are not able to identify or reach to all the people who have been damaged. Even if you see on the news, a lot of the media people and the journalists are on the ground, and they have been doing their shows from the flood affected areas. So just yesterday I was watching with my parents, and there's somebody who was on a boat, and he went to this nearby mosque, and half of that mosque was sunken underwater. And this person said that, I just came back yesterday and my family is somewhere else and everything is drowned, and I'm here. And the journalist asked, has anybody come to help you? And he said, no, nobody has. And they were appealing to the local government in that area that, look, this is this person, and asking you to come help. So,
and of course,
we have a long journey to go still.
Like you're saying, everyone is overwhelmed, everyone who wants to help, and you're where it's happening, you're getting the first-hand information, the first-hand messages. You are connected to the people in need, and more by the day. So it is overwhelming, I'm sure. And I hope that, now you're also connected with Scholar Hubs. If you need volunteers, support, just communicate. We also want to do as much as we can muster, and we'll try more than that. So Javed Saab, next question for you. I think same, that this is obviously a unique situation we find ourselves in. And I want to know, just like I asked Misha, how have you adapted? And what do you think we need to hear, to really understand the urgency and to understand how we as an organization, as Scholar, can fit? So Mr. Shahid, over to you. And anything you feel, you are the one who knows this. So we are here to hear from you and learn from you.
Thank you very much. First, I would like to contribute in the climate action part of your question and your previous discussion about that. The thing is that in Pakistan, there is almost zero awareness about the climate issues. And last week I was in a seminar, and I think all of the students that have master degree, they have master degree holders. And I asked them that what is a community DRR? And then I asked them that if anyone has read about the Pakistan climate plan of 2022. So there was around 150 audience, and only one girl, she knows about that. So that's our awareness level, and that's the area that Scholar can do. It can make awareness about all these issues. So this is like one part of it. Excellent. And connected to it is even the disaster management plans. No one in Pakistani community has ever heard that there is a Pakistan monsoon contingency plan of 2022. No one knows that. And I have put the same question to the audience, and there was a DG of PDMA sitting and all these people. So the thing is that one is the awareness issue, that we don't know climate action plan will work, who are the main stakeholders, how to involve them. One thing is very straightforward, and I used to say it on every forum: West is not interested to slow down their industrial activities, their progress. They will never, ever slow down their economic activities. The thing is that how we can manage the climate impacts in our country. So that's like our field of action. Yeah. Because you cannot expect China that it should slow down because it has impact on you. You don't expect that the Western countries or all these economic powers, they will slow down their activities, their economic activities. They will shut down their factories and these carbon emissions and carbon footprint and all these things. So I think that the main thing is that how to prepare the Pakistani community for the future disaster as well.
Internet. Now
yes,
it's okay.
Yes, thank you. So I think that in the Pakistani community, we need to make this awareness that we must have a plan to deal with such catastrophes in future. And as we are discussing all these things with different specialists and scientists, so God forbid these things will happen. Yeah. And it may happen with more extreme conditions in future. So the thing is that we need to prepare ourselves. And that's where the scholar community can engage with the Pakistani communities. Even in our education institution, there is no education about climate change, with the disaster risk reduction, that how to manage all these things in the field. So I think that's a main area, that's a core area that forums like this can contribute in a larger way. So that's one thing. Excellent. The other thing is that if there is something happens, then there comes the actions of disaster management authorities and community groups and all these things. So that will be another thing that, like for example, there is a coordination issue among the authorities and the organizations on ground. Akhuwat is on ground, Alkhidmat is on ground. But 2 weeks before, we just received message that the government wants to have a meeting with you. So you can imagine that in the last 1 month, there was no coordination mechanism in place in Pakistan. So that's where the communities like you can say that they can collaborate and communicate with all such authorities. Okay. So that's a large area. One is the physical help that you will provide. You will raise funds, and then we will deliver just the food items and all these things. But on these policy initiatives and these awareness things, especially in schools and universities, the thing that I was telling, it was a university that I was telling that what is a DRR, what is a community-based DRR, what is the National Disaster Management Act of 2010. So all these things, our youth needs to understand these things.
Yes.
And they need to be educated on these fronts. And the service delivery, it's there. There are a lot of organizations. We are also part of them. The government is also trying to make things happen in the delivery front. So I think these are the major areas that the scholar community can contribute. And they can contribute scholastically as well. They can arrange seminars, they can arrange workshops, they can arrange webinars, and all these things. So that for future perspective, look, it's very important. This time the Indus River has mercy on us. So it was not like in the 2010 floods. It was our own rains, and it was like extreme weather conditions in Sindh and Balochistan. It had made all these things. But the new studies that the UN has just released say that there are 300 lakhs in the northern areas that if something happens, many of them can burst and they can flood the northern Pakistan. And there is an estimate that 30 of them are in a very critical condition. And if one such lake bursts, 9 million people will directly affect from that. And it may cause a colossal human casualties as well, because these flash floods are quite fast and they have a strong speed due to their inertia and all these things. So we need to make this awareness. One thing is that. The other thing is, unfortunately, in our communities, we are not always fond of, you can say, like building codes. There are no building codes in these areas. As my brother, he was from these areas. People will again start building these mud houses and in the water channels. They will start building hotels in the water channels. This is also an area that we are also requesting time and time to the government as well, that they should come forward. They should enforce these building codes. Like in the 2000 flood earthquake, many buildings collapsed as they were not earthquake resistance. You better know Japan is an earthquake, but their building structure has, even last time they received 7.2 or 7.3 earthquake, no casualty.
And skyscrapers,
yes,
not like 1-2-story houses.
In Pakistan, if we receive a 7.2, then what will happen? You can imagine.
Destroyed,
So that's another thing that people need to understand, need to be educated, that the building codes, and we always say that in our regional language, that the rivers, they know how to liberate their lands. So these water channels and rivers know how to liberate their lands. We are building houses on them. We are building markets on them. But every 5 to 10 years, so when they are flooded, all these communities, they are being disturbed. Like for example, in Sindh, we call it the Kache ka area. You can say that, what I can translate into English.
The not cooked area. Literally. The so area like that's not fully developed.
Yes. So there are more than 15 million people living in these areas. And people will start living over there again and again. And then there will be a catastrophe, and we all have to, you can say, scramble to help them. So I think it's an area you have rightly pointed out. You can make groups, you can engage experts on that. That there are many fronts like that. One is the front that we always do, the climate change and West. We cannot do that. The UN is already, UN Secretary General was quite clear, all his statements, even he cannot do. You better know that the Paris Agreement was there. But the President of the United States say that
I think we just wait. This University of Lahore internet is, we need to, I think he's right. It's not in Lahore. Is it? Okay, so while I think we are waiting for him, I have an idea that definitely, you know, awareness, it's so true that yes, we can wait for developed countries to commit more reduce carbon neutrality is a big topic. And really, we barely ever talk about this in Pakistan. You know, it's a very niche topic. It needs to be more mainstream. And what we need to do instead, of course, apart from that, is think about climate resistance, being able to, with our resources, knowing what is the current government policy and then trying to improve that and trying to play our part in preparing for that. So this is very important. And what I think is that Scholar already has the model SCO. Why not? You know, if the hubs can volunteer, we can have more consultation with both Misha and Shahid Saab, and you can actually prepare lectures for schools and other universities in Pakistan, 2-hour sessions from Scholar and others as well. I mean, I see that there's a big gap in Pakistan. So my understanding in Pakistan about Pakistan is slightly better. But I think if in other countries, SCO countries, our hubs are from 7 countries, if you feel that this is something that we can play a part in building awareness, educate ourselves better first, and then create a way to make it like, you know, a 30-page, 40-page document is hard for people to understand. Why not make a PowerPoint, study it, understand it, teach it? This is the policy. This is what we need. Action matters because we cannot reduce our emissions, but we can be climate resistant. So I think that could be a possible initiative. Shikha, Vika, hubs, you can consider. And I think it is actually 6 p.m., past 6 p.m. for Pakistan. So 3 for, Beijing. So 3 for Pakistan. And I wish, Shahid, you were still speaking. If there's something that you would like to, and another thing, your second point. So I think what we can do at Scholar, because we do have initiatives that involve universities. One of them is Model SEO to spread awareness about SEO, but really we want to do some problem solving as well, helping real issues. So our people can make lectures. We can be the ones, our members can make it one of the Scholar initiatives and go to universities, schools, give lectures, help people understand in a way that they can absorb and care about it, and on climate resistance, current policies, and improving it. And the second is, anyway, I think, well, Mishal and Shaita, both of you, we are already in touch with the hubs. Let us know physically what we can do, what you need. Our members, I'm sure many of them, members and members plus. So the Scholar family is not just the active members, it's so many people who want to and are involved and are participants regularly in our projects. We from here and also our hubs in Pakistan from Islamabad, Lahore, Karachi can physically help you where you think we can. And today was helpful, but we continue that conversation. Now, I would have loved to open for Q&A, but I also want to ask, maybe we can wrap up unless any of the panelists has a quick 30-second to 1-minute comment. And I think we can do a round 2. Your time is very valuable, but I will be very happy if we can do a round 2, maybe, you know, follow up. Anyway, it's a month-long campaign. So we can find times to even have closed door meetings and engage, and you can communicate what we can do better. Guide us. This awareness brings us closer to action. So this was a session, really a meeting. We are happy to share it with everyone who is watching online and who will have access to this later. This is bringing us closer to action, closer to understanding, helps us have a better sense of purpose in our lives. So thank you so much. If you have any quick comment, you can raise your hand if it is essential. And then I will ask Vika a few, Shikha and Vika both. So first Vika and then Shikha, and then we'll wrap up. No hands raised. 3, 2, 1. Vika, over to you. Or first Shikha, you decide. Shikha, what are you feeling about?
Vika can go first, then I will go behind her.
Vika can go first is what Shikha. Maybe Shikha, you can come first because you've been like, you know, hands-on on this. We've had the panel, we've learned so much, and we are so grateful, really. So what are your feelings, thoughts? What can we do further to nudge this forward?
Yeah, there are so many things. I think we got an idea from Misha and also like Iqbal sir. So, and I'm really glad that we started this initiation, knowing that like there is need of help, and this launch event has opened our eyes for like a lot of possibilities work that we can do as a hub in Lahore, in Karachi, and also in Islamabad, and how they can collaborate with these two big organizations who is working to help the flood victims. And also they are not just helping flood victims, but they have been helping the need for poverty alleviation, how Akhuwat has been doing since 2001. And Alkhidmat has been also working on disaster relief for a long time. And as I think in this conversation, we have already mentioned that this thing is not just happening in Pakistan. This issue is global issue. And myself coming from developing country, Nepal, I have gone through the disaster. In 2015, we had earthquake, and I was in Nepal, and I have seen that more than 10,000 people lost their lives. And we are still not recovering from this earthquake. People are still not, have not got their proper place to stay. So it is a very long-term process to recover. And I hope that in future, we can do more. And this campaign is just a start. It's just 1 month, we are starting with 1 month, but this month is more about raising awareness, raising donations, and we hope that we can continue it and also help more country in need. So that is what I would like to say. And thank you to all of you for joining us, and very thankful to Alkhidmat and Akhuwat for giving their time, and also to our curators who are working there, especially Aiza. I would like to thank her so much. She has been working a lot, and then connecting us to both the NGOs. Thank you all, and we will continue this journey, and it's just a start. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. I think we are often a part of different webinars, but we're rarely a part of the webinars that are so touching. And we're literally sitting with Zoon and holding our tears, because it does feel that this is so close to every single one of us. And when we see something that is happening and that we don't like, we are at Scholar, we're thinking whether this is something that we can change or help to change. And there are two ways, right? One is to sit there and cry, which is okay too. But the other one is to think, what are the actions that we can take? And the actions might be really small. They might be insignificant, but they are going to be significant for 1 or 2 families. And at the panel yesterday that we had on climate that Zoom hosted with Joel D, I was sharing that climate is something that I never thought that I'm going to be a part of. But then when you see that this is something that's affecting lives of not only your neighbors, because we're all neighboring countries, but also people that you actually know, this is when the difference comes. And then it's not something that's happening over there. It's something that's happening with my friends, with my community, with people that I care about. And at Scholar, although we've never met with a lot of our hubs, but when I'm sure that we feel that we're very connected. And for us at Scholar, everybody is a family. And when we see that our family, and especially family members, are going through this, which is not fair. And when you think about it, this is not fair. And what is it that we can do? So we start this campaign, as Shika has said, and I want to just give a shout out to everybody who is behind this campaign, because it was put together not by a few people, but by a team. And not Shika as the initiator, Alessia was helping a lot, Lucien is on the call. Of course, all of our hubs, and I'm sure not only the curators, but the team that is behind you as well. And we are grateful to the Pakistani embassy in China for the support, because we'll not be able to do it without them. We'll not be able to mobilize the company resources for donation, which is more significant. in terms of the financial value. And we'd like to thank the NGOs that are here to support us. And we cannot watch these videos because I don't know how you
keep a straight face.
Yeah, like how do you just talk about it with so much integrity? Because when we just watch the videos, it makes me cry, and it's very hard to control the emotions. But then we choose to act, and when we were just having the conversation, we also pulled in together the, let's say, China-based WeChat resources, where we'll do a campaign and donations from personal accounts. And we know that this has to be transparent. So we found an app that everybody can see how much, who has donated. Everybody can go and check. We are not at the blockchain technology yet with our donations, but we are trying to do our best. All the donations from the companies in China will go to the Chinese account that the embassy has set in China. And all of the Pakistani donations will go directly to the NGOs that we're working with, whether it's personal capacity or the company capacity. So we are doing this for our community. And I was also just sharing with Zoon that this, in the past 5 years, is probably one of the most significant things that we've done together collectively as the community. And that is the reason why Scholar exists to begin with, because we want to help our community when we see that people that we care about a lot are in need. And and personally, I'd like to appreciate all of the suggestions. We're going to follow up and expect us to bother you quite a lot because we do want to do more. And as Shifa said, 1 month is just the beginning. We'll definitely continue with our efforts, whether we're putting it on top of the existing projects like Model SEO, which is already a big flagship project and has some sort of impact. And then we put in the climate issues on board. We organize events where we talk about the future. Right now, we are at the immediate stage, but then what is next, especially for young people and for kids that are affected. So we're going to do everything in our capacity, and we cannot do it without the support of our team locally in Pakistan, because you know the best what is it there that we can do. And again, echoing what Zoon has shared on the mobilizing our physical resources, if there's anything that we can do, we are happy to pull in more resources that we can to go and physically help as volunteers to just support. Yeah, thank you so much. It was really appreciate everyone's efforts, and we hope that this will help us bring it on the next level of awareness, but also actual help to the families. Thank you.
Thank you, Shikha. Thank you, Vika, and really thank you to the embassy, to Misha from Akhuwat, and also Shahid from Alkhidmat. Also, Shahzaib, we are with you. We are closely connected. So let us know. Let our scholar hubs. They are equally the center as. I mean, we are equal as hubs. Every hub is the heart of Scholar. We have 10 hearts beating all over the region, 3 in Pakistan, and we are here to support. And I think, really, you're giving us, especially the foundations here, you're giving us a sense, strengthening our sense of purpose. We want to act, we want to unite, and we are now coming closer to uniting and acting on issues that are pressing. I think with our collective efforts, we can make a difference. Your work has understanding it helps us. And I think also, we also cry because we are not close enough. This is different for us. And you don't, because you see this in person, you see that suffering in person. So I think when we do more, we will be also hardened in a good way that this is true. This is a reality. And we have the opportunity to step in. So, so grateful for your work, just as you are doing, and grateful that you are sharing it with us and giving us an opportunity to contribute. Now, without further ado, I think we can conclude for now, but this is not the conclusion at all. This is, inshallah, a new beginning. Thank you once again, Team Scholar, our panelists, our partners, everyone present here. There will be a better future for us to work on issues that really count. Thank you so much. More strength to the campaign. And one final for people who are watching, think about us as another platform that can help people in Pakistan. We have partners. Any questions you have, please contact us. And let us also know, if you're watching online, how we can do further, how we can do better. If you would like to volunteer, anything, your contributions, your suggestions. Some of you may have more experience in working in such situations. So your initiative and your guidance can help us. And also, inshallah, we will move forward, just like we thought, a way to spread climate change awareness in Pakistan and further in the region. So let's work on that. Thank you and goodbye for now. We meet again very soon.